guys, my name is Evie and I'm here to talk to you guys about voting. So voting, I feel like, is something, especially in our time or my time at school, it's not really talked about. I feel like there is a bigger deal made about getting your driver's license than getting registered to vote. And honestly, getting your driver's license takes a huge amount of time. You have to actually take a test and then bring a lot of documentation. And getting registered to vote only takes 1 minute or so. It's advertised. So I'm going to tell you guys all the deadlines coming up, the impending deadlines for the GA Senate Runoffs for next year. And also the procedure to get yourself registered to vote if you're eligible. So just a quick, very cursory backgrounds on each of the Senate candidates. And also the minimum requirements in order to get yourself registered to vote. Voting is something, in theory, it sounds really easy to do, and the task itself is really easy to do once you're registered. So we want to make sure that none of us are being disenfranchised or our votes are not being deemed legitimate, right? So make sure we go through all the procedures correctly. And in general, it's very hard for you to find information about voting, if you're not being proactive about it. And even if you just search up the website, I'm about to show you, the actual website to get yourself registered to vote is not one of the top websites that pop up. So make sure that you go onto the real website, authentic website by the Secretary of State, and not using one of those third-party organizations or websites. And also, I feel like voting is just not very talked about, and we all have heard of voting. We all know it's our civic duty. And I feel like if you're really able to vote, then you definitely should, because if you can, then why wouldn't you want to voice your concerns or vote for a policy, even though it seems like it doesn't have a direct impact on your life, driving. It has a very drastic impact on your life. You're able to have considerable freedom. And then voting, it seems like, it doesn't concern your life that much. But if you actually take the time to read each of the candidates' policies, they seriously concern us a lot, especially here. When healthcare is talked about a lot, in the pandemic, you really want to educate yourself on the policies that our politicians are supposedly, enforcing, and if they're not, it's time to, hold them accountable. Okay, so some quick deadlines. December the 7th is the last day to register to vote if you're turning 18 before January 5th of next year. So to get yourself registered to vote, you have to go to the website, which I will show you later. And then Monday, December 14th, which is the Monday immediately following the Monday that you have to get yourself registered to vote. It's the first day of early in-person voting. So I will also show you the website to get your polling location, and it's the same website with Secretary of State. Again, it's pretty hard to find if you're not being proactive and actively searching. And I know we're all very busy people, so this is why I'm making this video, to make this information all at once and readily accessible for you guys. Thursday, December the 31st, it's the last day for early in-person voting, and if you're able to vote early, I recommend you to do so that you can just get it done. And then after December 31st, you can't vote in person anymore until January the 5th, which is the last day to vote. So please don't wait until the last day to vote, because it's just really going to take more time, and it's really convenient to just get it done early. And if you're not able to do in-person voting, then request your absentee ballot ASAP. So I will show you that website as well, and request it ASAP so that you can return it back to the drop-off locations. And also something that you guys should keep in mind, there's something called a Georgia Voter Protection Hotline. So the hotline is for whenever you have urgent, not even just urgent, just any voting questions, anything that you want to make sure. So if you're voting and someone kicks you out or something, you feel like your voting rights are being violated, then call this hotline to get your problem resolved or your answers to your voting questions. So the Voter Protection Hotline is 888-730-5816. So you guys probably forgot it, but I'm going to put this on the screen. And this number you can search up online as well. I just wanted to make sure that you guys know that such a thing exists, so that if you have any problems, please contact them. So I will now show you guys the website you need to go to get yourself registered to vote. So let me show you guys. So this is the website to get yourself registered to vote. You can go through either using your driver's license online or printing and mailing. And I feel like for us, especially now that we're so technically advanced. We can all do online. And these are the minimum requirements. Again, a citizen of the United States, a legal resident of the county, so for us, probably Bullitt County, and at least 17 and a half years old at the time that we're filling out this form. So I'm also not serving a sentence for a conviction of felony. I've not been found mentally incompetent, which I hope none of you guys have been. So if you see the steps, it's super easy. Like, just fill in your driver's license in step 2, and it takes seriously just about a minute, and it's way less documentation than even getting your driver's license. So you have your driver's license, and you have no excuse to not get yourself registered to vote, because it's literally like 1/100th of the time it takes you to get your driver's license. And I just wanted to make sure you guys know the website. So it's registertovote.sos.georgia.gov. Make sure you use this official website from the Georgia Secretary of State, so that you're not using one of those third-party ones which may get your vote, it's probably not legitimate. So all the things like my voter page, which is to check your polling location. So after you're registered to vote, you want to check where you can vote in person or where to drop off your absentee ballot, etc. You write in your first initial, your last name, which has to match your voter registration records, the county of your voting, so Bullock, and then date of birth. And then if you click it, submit, fill this in, then you should be able to get the polling locations in Bullock County. So make sure you go to the website. That's like s.sos.ga.gov, because this is the official website. Trust me, I'm a phone banking volunteer, and this is the information we give. And then I want to show you how inaccessible it is to actually find the correct website. So we search up request absentees, like something that's, it's pretty vague, but it's not really. So the top websites are just like from vote.org, which is not the website that you want to go to. See, you have to scroll a lot in order to go to the actual website, which is, again, something.sos.georgia.gov. So make sure that whichever website you're using, they're like very credible, trustworthy, like actually the websites get yourself the correct information. So if you see here, you have to scroll quite a while in order to get to the correct website. So make sure that if you're requesting your absentee ballot, you're going to this website, and it is the same thing. Make sure the banner is correct, Georgia Secretary of State, and then you request your absentee ballot that way. So it's super duper easy, and especially now when we're all super adept at technology, that we go through the correct process. It seriously takes very little of your time. Okay, and then the third thing I would like to tell you guys is to please educate yourself after you get registered to vote is to educate yourself on the upcoming election. So for us, the Georgia Senate runoffs are coming up January the 5th. So please educate yourself on the policies. They're seriously super short. Like, check out this website for our incumbent David Perdue, so Senator David Perdue. And actually, I'm going to give you guys a super cursory background about him, but you can see this, all his committee work and all the stuff that he provided to us as his constituents, that we know the policies that he's supposedly pushing. So David Perdue says, meet David right here, and I just want to make sure that you guys don't think I'm biased or anything. This is taken exactly from his website, purdue.senate.gov. So he is a former CEO of Reebok and Dollar General. He does committee work in national security, armed services, banking, housing, urban affairs. Please familiarize yourselves with the the policies that he's doing and anything concerning him. I really recommend you to don't get his policies from media sources, because they tend to do a lot of cross-contamination and manipulation of words, and take all these political ads with a grain of salt, because they really try to attack each other pretty fiercely, I feel like, and they don't do their policies justice. So inform yourselves on the website. He is our incumbent, so he's up for re-election, and his challenger for his seat, so remember there are 2 seats open. So the first seat is David Perdue's seat. His challenger is Jon Ossoff, which is a Democrat. David Perdue is a Republican, if you guys didn't know. And here is his policy, so you can go through policy. So Jon Ossoff, some cursory background on him. He has a background of investigative journalism, and he's also the CEO of a company that uncovers corruption, and he's been doing that for I think like 15 years or something. He wants to end private prisons, he wants to defend Medicare and Social Security, and he also wants investment in clean air and infrastructure. So of course that's not obviously exhaustive of his policies or comprehensive by any means, so please look through his policies. So John's is actually longer than most of the other candidates, but if you can, please educate yourself before you vote. so that you're not, just like voting your conscience or something like that, which is really not fulfilling your moral duty if you think about that. And then our second seat open for re-election is our incumbent Kelly Loeffler, so Senator Loeffler. And something about her is that she wasn't actually elected by the people. She was appointed by our Governor Kemp. So this is why this year, when she was appointed at the beginning of 2020, and now she's actually up for re-election. So whether we can let her continue doing her work or if we want her out of office. So here's a list of her issues. Her website is pretty accessible, it's really easy, and it's super short, most of all. Like, look, if you click into one of her policies, or read more. Okay, I don't know what to... Okay, so if you see that, it's like 2 sentences. So please take the time to read about her policy so that you're educated on what you're voting for if you're voting for her. And also her challenger is Raphael Warnock, so Reverend Raphael Warnock. He also has a background, so he was a pastor. He's a pastor at Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. I think it's Ebenezer Church. And he has a background of fighting for health care insurance, and he wants to expand Medicaid for those with pre-existing health conditions and private prisons. He wants to responsibly fund police while increasing accountability and support the communities. So I feel like there's a lot of talk about both Democratic candidates wanting to defund the police, but if you actually read through the policies, they don't really say that. So make sure that you guys are getting accurate information, and remember, take these political ads, which are really, really destructive, with a grain of salt. And as long as you guys familiarize yourselves with the issues that these politicians put out for themselves, then that's the only way you can keep them accountable for the policies that they want to enforce, right? Okay, so please educate yourself on these candidates, and that's it. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. So please get yourself registered to vote, and take this as a sign to get yourself registered to vote, because the voting age is set there for a reason, right? And as long as you're past that age, then you have a right to vote as anyone else, like someone who's 80 years old or 60 years old or 50 years old. And if you feel like your voices or your concerns aren't being represented, then it's good that you realize that, and then you should vote to get your whoever you want on the ballot. So if you feel like none of these candidates really advocate for policies that you want, the next time, whenever there's a general election, you should probably vote for a politician that has your views. And don't ever feel like your views are being discounted or they're being disregarded, because everyone has a different demographic. They have different experience that influences your perspectives. So we want everyone's views to be represented in the republic that we live in, and the diversity is something that we need to be proud of, right? Don't tell people who see concerns and tell them that they should leave the country if they don't like it, because that's just not a very good argument to make, because when you're a critic, you're actually an optimist, because you're finding ways for people to improve, right? I feel like people are very hostile when it comes to politics, but we should really go back to being civil. Okay, so that's it. Please get yourself registered to vote December 7th. I know I'm making this video kind of late, but figured that if you didn't get yourself registered to vote, there's still a lot of time. There's still December 7th. You can still register to vote on December 7th, and again, it takes only 1 minute, so please do so. And don't get discouraged that your vote doesn't count. Numerically, it doesn't have the most weight, but seriously, that's not the best way to look at it. It's very degrading and dehumanizing to think that your vote doesn't count, because if your vote doesn't count, then everyone's vote doesn't count. And collectively, of course it counts, so please don't think from that myopic point of view. Ask your social studies teacher if you need any help with your voting procedures, because I'm sure they've already gone through the process themselves. And please don't be afraid to ask for help from adults or anything. You guys are literally, we're all the entering adult workforce, so it's time for us to build the habit of voting and fulfill our role in the society that we live in. And that's so cheesy, but seriously, please vote. I wouldn't be so stressed. This wouldn't be so emphasized if it wasn't so important. Everything, all these efforts, it's all meant to pushing towards a better place that we all want to live in. So even though our views may not align, it's really important to do the most you can to get the world that you want to live in.